When I did my honors in English literature, it was a very natural thing for me to do because I was extremely fond of reading. So, all my growing up years, as far long back as I can remember, I used to come back from school, dump my bag, okay, get two apples from the fridge, pick up a book, and read. And that 1.5, 2 hours after coming back from school was just dedicated to this. I don't even think it was an option. When I finished my schooling, everybody knew I'm going to opt for English honors. It just was a natural thing. I don't think the parents said anything, I said anything. It was just a silent understanding. What I am doing now with Novel Bunch, with the Chandigarh Literary Society, one, I think God has been kind that I am one of those probably very few lucky people in this world who are actually ending up doing what we enjoy doing. Now I thought that यूनिवर्सिटी वाली जॉब में तो ये मुमकिन होगा नहीं, तो कुछ और सोचते हैं. तो कुछ और सोचने में I started the first event management company in Chandigarh. It happened because it was my son's first birthday.
Okay.
And I wanted to do a theme party. Nobody in Chandigarh had heard of a theme party. Then Vivek Atre was, in the government at the time, and we met somewhere. And he said that, let's do something interesting. This city really needs, a little more happening to it. There's no mental stimulation here. And I so agreed with him. And so he came in with the idea of the Chandigarh Literary Society. At the same time that the Chandigarh Literary Society came into existence, a few years before that, the Jaipur Literature Festival had started to happen.
Okay.
So I think when Vivek and I started the Chandigarh Literary Society, nobody said it, but I think at the back of our heads, we always knew that the eventuality is going to be a Chandigarh Literature Festival.
Okay.
And that's how the literati came into existence 12 years ago.
How did Novel Bunch come up? So, what was the need of Novel Bunch when already there were other literary forums around?
Okay, very interesting question, Mubarak, and thank you so much for asking this because I get this question all the time. So, through this, I'm sure I'll be able to reach out with this answer to a lot of people. We actually have, one of our intellectual properties of Novel Bunch is unspoken.
Yes.
And as the name would suggest, the idea is to, one, bring on stage people who don't speak very often on stage. And secondly, again, as the name suggests, to talk about the topics that are generally pushed under the carpet and not spoken very often about. Yes, there is one thing that Hardeep and I have now been talking about taking this international.
Okay.
So, inshallah, I think we should be going international with Novel Bunch very, very soon.
But ma'am, towards the end, मैं एक बात तो भूल गया. How did golf come up in your life?
Okay, golf came up because you see, my oldest son Siddhant, he started to see golf on television probably when he was just 3 years old. And my husband, of course, used to play on and off, but not a very regular golfer. And I used to feel it's such a boring game. What is this child understanding out of golf? Thank you so much, Mubarak. It was a pleasure to be here, and I really enjoyed this conversation. We could have gone on and on and on. This is such an easy flowing conversation. So I am looking forward to the part two.
Definitely. Ma'am. Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Mubarak Show. And today I must say, welcome to a very special episode of The Mubarak Show. Because ये सफ़र हमने शुरू किया 29 दिसंबर 2023 को और आज दिसंबर 2024 में आज का एपिसोड हमारा 50th एपिसोड है. एक साल हर फ्राइडे नए गेस्ट के साथ नई फील्ड के बारे में बातचीत की और आज 50th एपिसोड में हम आपके साथ रूबरू हुए हैं. So this is something really, really special for me and for my whole team. And of course, for all of you who have connected and supported us throughout my podcast journey. आज के पॉडकास्ट में, आज के एपिसोड में, a very special episode. And again, another reason for calling it special. As a writer, मैंने लिटरेरी सोसाइटीज, लिटरेरी फोरम्स ज्वाइन किए 2021 ऑनवर्ड्स. उसके बाद एक नॉवल बंच फोरम जब मैंने ज्वाइन किया नॉवल बंच वाज द फर्स्ट फोरम जिसके अंडर मैंने एक इवेंट में होस्टिंग की, स्टेज के ऊपर एज एन एंकर, एज अ मॉडरेटर, एज अ होस्ट ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर आई वुड से सेशन. I was there and I was introduced as a moderator for the first time under Novel Bunch. वो शुरुआत ऐसी हुई कि आज जिस स्टूडियो में बैठे हैं, बल्ले बॉली स्टूडियो में, यहाँ पे पहला पॉडकास्ट मैंने रिलीज किया हरदीप चांदपुरी सर के साथ. और आज 50th एपिसोड में हम नॉवल बंच के ही को फाउंडर के साथ बल्ले बॉली के ही स्टूडियो में बैठे हैं. जहां से जर्नी शुरू हुई वापस वहां पर ही 50th एपिसोड आज हम रिकॉर्ड कर रहे हैं. सो देयर आर मेनी मेनी रीजंस फॉर कॉलिंग इट अ स्पेशल एपिसोड. आज के गेस्ट हमारे साथ जो हैं, हर नेम इज सगुना जैन. सगुना जैन मैम, पहले उन्होंने इंग्लिश ऑनर्स किया, उसके बाद ग्रेजुएशन के बाद पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन जर्नलिज्म एंड मास कम्युनिकेशन में की. बट कैरिंग फॉरवर्ड हर जर्नी ऑफ लिटरेचर, वो जर्नलिज्म में थोड़ी देर टीच भी किया पंजाब यूनिवर्सिटी चंडीगढ़ में. बट वो लिटरेचर जो था, she has done immense work in the field of literature. She is a co-founder of Literary Digest magazine. She is a co-founder of Intuitive and another forum. As an entrepreneur, she is doing a lot of things. She also was a co-founder of Chandigarh Literary Society. So चंडीगढ़ में जो पहली इवेंट मैनेजमेंट कंपनी भी आई वुड से शुरू हुई, इवेंट इट राइट, वो भी सगुना जैन मैम ने शुरू की. सो ये सारी बातें आज सगुना मैम के साथ हम यहाँ पे करने वाले हैं. पहले वेलकम करते हैं सगुना मैम का, उसके बाद आज की बातचीत शुरू करते हैं. सगुना मैम, मुबारक हो फॉर बीइंग ऑन द मुबारक शो.
आपको भी मुबारक हो, मुबारक.
थैंक यू सो मच मैम. एंड
For your 50th episode, it is been a long journey, and I've seen all your podcasts. I think you're doing a fantastic work. And yes, I also remember the time when you first came on stage, and look at what your growth has been. It's been tremendous, and I'm so proud of you.
yes, thank you so much ma'am. And that opportunity came by in Dharamshala Literature
Yes,
Festival.
I remember very
Yes.
clearly.
So thank you so much for everything that you have done and the Novel Bunch Forum has done, ma'am. So I have grown as a writer and as a podcaster, and I would say I've grown because of Novel Bunch.
Not at all. I mean, in fact, I think that's what Novel Bunch is all about. The idea behind Novel Bunch is to give an opportunity and recognition to all the budding writers, poets, also maybe to a very large extent, people who don't even know that they have a writer inside them. So I mean, our task is basically very, very focused, that we are here just to facilitate things for the writers towards literature, towards creativity in whatever way best we can.
That's amazing, ma'am. But अब क्योंकि आप लिटरेचर में इतना काम कर ही रहे हो, तो ये लिटरेचर आपने लिटरेचर में ऑनर्स की, यू ग्रेजुएटेड इन लिटरेचर ऑनर्स फ्रॉम दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी.
Yeah.
तो वो ग्रेजुएशन करने के बाद यू मूव टू चंडीगढ़ एंड देन यू डिड मास कॉम जर्नलिज्म, उसकी आपने पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन की. ऑफ कोर्स यू टॉट इन द सेम फील्ड एज वेल, बट लिटरेचर का जो पैशन था वो तो पीछा नहीं छोड़ रहा, और आप उसका पीछा नहीं छोड़ रहे. So take us through your journey of literature, your graduation, post-graduation, how all of this happened.
Okay, so it's too many years ago. I hope I can remember to narrate a large part of it. When I did my honors in English literature, it was a very natural thing for me to do because I was extremely fond of reading. So I mean, all my growing up years, as far long back as I can remember, I used to come back from school, dump my bag, okay, get two apples from the fridge, pick up a book, and read. And that 1.5, 2 hours after coming back from school was just dedicated to this. Okay, so that's how reading came about. My father had too many expectations from me. He would say things like that: if you're not inquisitive, if you do not question, if you do not ask, you will never grow. Okay, and he was a huge influence in my life. And I realized very early on that, the way a book answers your questions, probably nothing else does. So the books, okay, maybe another reason for it was I grew up with my grandparents. And so, in those times, we were not allowed to go out too much. They were very, very strict and they were very conservative. So I don't think in my growing up years I had that many friends. There was no going out, there was no partying, there was no, in fact, my friends used to joke. They used to say कि सगुना को ना तारे देखने allowed नहीं है, because
Okay.
they would never let me get out of the house. Once it was nightfall.
Yeah.
So yes, I mean, what choice did I have? So the books were my best friends, and I uh, अब पढ़ने से फिर लिखना शुरू हो गया, because I used to read something which used to be which used to have a lot of effect on me, but I had nobody to share it with.
Yeah.
So I would start jotting it down, and I think writing just became such a habit that that's how the interest in literature started. And I don't even think it was an option. When I finished my schooling, I mean, everybody knew I'm going to opt for English honors. I mean, it just was a natural thing. I don't think the parents said anything, I said anything. It was just a silent understanding.
Okay.
Even when I went to the colleges, went to the Delhi University, I filled up forms in all colleges only for this, the honors degree. And I can say here very proudly, I got through in, everywhere.
Yeah.
And uh, and I think 3 years of doing my English honors made my that interest in literature, you know, और भी ज्यादा वो मैं पक्की हो गई लिटरेचर के लिए.
Okay.
And I thought that this is amazing, what a world this is, and I need to just keep discovering it as much as I can.
Amazing.
So
बट मैम वो लिटरेचर के बाद यू केम फॉरवर्ड, चंडीगढ़ में आप आए एंड देन आपने मास कॉम जर्नलिज्म उसकी डिग्री भी की. बट वो जहाँ से हमने शुरुआत की वो लिटरेचर इतना एनग्रॉस्ड था आपके अंदर, आपने मास कॉम जर्नलिज्म पढ़ा भी, एंड जैसे आपने कहा यू गॉट थ्रू फॉर ऑल द टेस्ट, जो जहाँ जहाँ पे भी आपने अप्लाई किया इंग्लिश ऑनर्स के लिए, यू वर अ टॉपर इन मास कॉम एंड जर्नलिज्म एज
NASCOM as well, yes.
यस. सो
Yes.
मतलब उसमें भी टॉप करके जॉब करने के बाद भी लिटरेचर इज समथिंग जो ऐसे मतलब उसको नहीं आप छोड़ सकते पीछे. और जिंदगी में जो मर्जी होता है, यू आर अ गोल्फर एज वेल,
Yes.
बट लिटरेचर इज समथिंग वो मतलब दिन रात में लिटरेचर का कोई फर्क नहीं है आपकी लाइफ में, लिटरेचर है ही है और कुछ हो चाहे ना हो.
Because it's my childhood friend, है ना. It's something that I grew up with. It is something which मतलब इस बुक्स ने, लिटरेचर ने मेरा इतना साथ निभाया है मेरी पूरी जिंदगी. हाउ कैन आई लेट इट गो, है ना. सो what I am doing now with Novel Bunch, with the Chandigarh Literary Society, one, I think God has been kind that I am one of those probably very few lucky people in this world who are actually ending up doing what we enjoy doing. I'm sure there's not too many people out there who can boast of that. And my dad used to always say that, if you enjoy or if you love what you do, technically you do not work a single day in your life. So I think I'm one of those lucky ones. I don't think of it as work at all. I think of it as, as a joyous process. I think of it as a fun thing to do. So I guess when you're enjoying what you're doing, you're able to do complete justice to it. So that's been my journey with literature. But yes, I did take a break in the middle, because you did ask about.
Yes.
You keep saying that I keep coming back to literature. Yes, I did come back to literature because you see, when I got married, at that time I was teaching on an ad hoc basis in the Punjab University.
Okay.
And, once I got married, my babies came very soon after my shadi. And my husband is a lawyer. And he used to always tell me that, Saguna, I know you're going to work. After all, you're so qualified. But just, ensure one thing, that whenever I or the kids in the future come back home, please always be there. It's a lot of security that you give to the husband and the children. Now I thought that यूनिवर्सिटी वाली जॉब में तो ये मुमकिन होगा नहीं, तो कुछ और सोचते हैं.
Yeah.
तो कुछ और सोचने में आई स्टार्टेड द फर्स्ट इवेंट मैनेजमेंट कंपनी इन चंडीगढ़. इट हैपेंड बिकॉज इट वाज माय सन्स फर्स्ट बर्थडे.
Okay.
And I wanted to do a theme party. Nobody in Chandigarh had heard of a theme party. Okay, and I kept thinking, okay, what do I do? So I finally had to design the card, do the decor, decide on the theme based food and the theme based return presents. Everything I had to do on my own. Now, once that party happened, everybody, it was like a eye-opening thing for everybody. Up to you will probably not find it easy to relate with this because now theme parties are so
Yeah.
commonplace. But I'm talking of a time when nobody in Chandigarh knew what a theme party is. This was in 1997. And so when I did, when I did the party, everybody who came, they were like really happy to be there, and they were like pretty wide-eyed as to what I had done. And then for the next 3 months, I kept having friends calling me up to say that, will you please do it for our child? Will you please do it for our child? And I thought, when everybody wants to get it done, then why am I doing charity?
Yeah.
Why don't I at least make it worth my while? And I was anyways looking at something to do. So why not start this? So I started the first event management company called Event It Right. And then, again, one thing led to the other. It started with birthday parties. Then I got down to corporate events. I, did a lot of offsites. Airtel, had just come into existence in Chandigarh. And so, I did a lot of those, at that time, the concept of having these little do's for the top brass to get comfortable with each other had started. So we started to do that. Then I got into weddings.
Okay.
Okay, so it all just went on for almost about 14 years. Then at the end of 14 years, I realized that in your own work, nobody else gives you a promotion. You have to give a promotion to yourself. So I shut the event management company. It was just taking, it was fun while it lasted, but now the kids were growing up. They needed my time more.
Yes, ma'am.
So I became a consultant.
Okay.
So now I would not do any physical execution. I would only design this on the drawing board. I would tell the people how to go about it, and they would get a team to execute it for them.
Okay. And
So,
you have named this consultancy firm as
Fundamentals Consultancy Group.
Okay, Fundamentals Consultancy Group.
Yeah.
And now it's a consultancy firm to organize such events, theme
So
events.
now again,
Yeah.
Fundamentals started with this, but I think God always had literature planned for me. Slowly, a lot of literary events started falling into my lap. I reconnected with Hardeep, and we started. He was already doing the Fern Tree Publishing House,
Yes, ma'am.
so he said, "Why don't you do some editing for me?" I started to do that for him, and then Vivek Atre was, in the government at the time, and we met somewhere, and he said that, let's do something interesting. This city really needs, a little more happening to it. There's no mental stimulation here. And I so agreed with him. And so he came in with the idea of the Chandigarh Literary Society, where he said we could get a few like-minded people together.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a great idea. And anyways, Mubarak, I'll be very honest with you. I don't think I say no very easily. Saying yes comes more naturally to me than saying no does.
Yes, yes.
So the moment Vivek said this, I said, yeah, brilliant idea, let's do it. And so that's how Chandigarh Literary Society came into existence.
Amazing, ma'am. And you then started with the literature festivals and all the literary events in Tri-City जो उससे पहले नहीं हो रहे थे.
उससे पहले बिल्कुल नहीं हो रहे थे. इनफैक्ट कुछ बुक क्लब्स जरूर शुरू हुए थे.
Okay.
But they didn't really have too much of a structure to them. So I think what the Literary Society did was it told the local authors that there was, something big that could be happening for them. At the same time that the Chandigarh Literary Society came into existence, a few years before that, the Jaipur Literature Festival had started to happen.
Okay.
So I think when Vivek and I started the Chandigarh Literary Society, nobody said it, but I think at the back of our heads, we always knew that the eventuality is going to be a Chandigarh Literature Festival.
Okay.
And that's how the literati came into existence 12 years ago.
Okay.
So I think the Chandigarh Literary Society would be about 13 years old now, and the literati would be 12 years.
How nice, ma'am.
Because I'm very proud to say, and I must tell you here, that I think within about 8 months of the Chandigarh Literary Society forming, we'd already planned our first Chandigarh Literature Festival.
Okay.
And the first literati that happened, by the way, the first two or the first three, I'm forgetting now, But the first 2 or 3 literature festivals that happened were 3 day affairs. Okay, we started with a 3 day literature festival and with multiple venues.
Okay.
Then slowly it kept tapering down to 2 days and then just a single venue. But when we started out, it was pretty much at par with what Jaipur did.
अमेजिंग मैम, ये सारा कुछ याद करके मतलब कितना एक्साइटेड फील कर रहे
I
होगे
know
आप.
I'm also getting very nostalgic
Yeah.
because I don't think I've spoken about this for so many years now. So it's almost like I've gone back almost 13, 14 years.
यस मैम, इट साउंड सो एक्साइटिंग. उस टाइम पे जब वो इवेंट होता होगा तब तो क्या माहौल बनता होगा वहां पे.
Bilkul, and we had the likes of Anupam Kher, we had Rahul Bose.
Yeah.
These were the first few, Navteej Sarna. These were the first few book launches that we did.
ओके.
So we literally came in with a bang.
अमेजिंग मैम. बट अभी तक हमने जैसे आपकी लिटरेचर सोसाइटीज या लिटरेरी फोरम्स की हमने बात की, सो यू हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट चंडीगढ़ लिटरेरी सोसाइटी एंड योर ऑफ कोर्स योर एक्सपीरियंस एंड योर लव फॉर लिटरेचर. But how did Novel Bunch come up? So what was the need of Novel Bunch when already there were other literary forums around?
Okay, very interesting question, Mubarak, and thank you so much for asking this because I get this question all the time. So through this, I'm sure I'll be able to reach out with this answer to a lot of people. Uh, you know, like any big organization, when Chandigarh Literary Society started to grow and more people started to become, a part of the system as such, and which is the organizing system. Uh, what we started out to do kind of seemed to lose its meaning a little bit. I'll explain that suddenly we were only concentrating on the bigger authors in the country. We were not, I think, for almost 3 or 4 literature festivals, we did not give any chance to be on stage to the local authors at all. And it just didn't seem right because it seemed like एक वो agendas होते हैं.
Yeah.
It seemed like we were just not being able to do justice to what we had set out to do. That was one. Secondly, I thought that why is it that we are only restricting ourselves to books and just literature? Why is it that we are not seeing literature as a bigger forum? Why are we not taking all kinds of creativity and all kinds of creative outlets that people use into the vicinity of bringing them out into the public arena as well and giving them exposure as well? I used to often say that just because somebody has not written a book does not mean that they don't have anything to share. Maybe they haven't got an opportunity to write, but at the end of the day, they might have so much more, inside them than a person who's written 10 novels. So, I had just then read about this concept of a human library.
Yes, ma'am.
So, it had started in Norway.
Okay.
And I thought this was such a brilliant thing to do. So I told Hardeep that, let's start this human library thing. And he said, will somebody even understand what a human library is? I said, doesn't matter. That's why we are here to explain it to them. So that's how Novel Bunch came into existence. And I'm so proud to say that we are just about 2 years old. Okay, not even 2 years old. I think we will be 2 years old in the end of December.
Yes.
But so far, we have, not digressed from our path at all. We have continued. It's more like a service, actually. There is no vested interest in there. There is no any monetary, involvement for becoming a member of the Novel Bunch. Anybody is welcome to become a member. It's a no profit, no loss organization. It is not as if we are trying to collect lakhs of sponsorships and then we are trying to disperse it at our own, will and fancy. Um, we are here with a very simple target, and the target is to probably evolve the citizens of the Tri City to the best, ability that we can to bring to them very, quality speakers, quality poets, and to give them an opportunity, irrespective of whether they've written a book or not, to come on stage and to be a part of the discussions and share what all they have to share with the society at large. And I think you've been a part of
Yes, ma'am.
all Novel Bunch events, and I feel very proud of the fact that I think a lot of our speakers are first-time speakers. We actually have, one of our intellectual properties of Novel Bunch is unspoken.
Yes.
And as the name would suggest, the idea is to one, bring on stage people who don't speak very often on stage. And secondly, again, as the name suggests, to talk about the topics that are generally pushed under the carpet and not spoken very often about. So, for instance, just to give you an example, the kind of topics that we can cover under it would be sexual and domestic abuse, the LGBTQ discrimination, infidelity in marriage, divorce and its after effects. Our next topic, which already everybody is asking us to bring on stage, is probably going to be euthanasia.
Ma'am, you also
So,
covered drug de-addiction, and there were
yes.
people who talked about how they got into drugs and how they were able to overcome
Yeah,
the
absolutely. It was
difficulties.
brilliant.
Yes.
And you know what gives, I think what gives me the maximum satisfaction as far as this is concerned is that both the LGBTQ community as well as the drug addiction panelists post the event, they actually walked up to me to say that we have never found such an unjudgmental and such a discerning audience that you gave to us. Because my brief to panelists always, when it comes to sensitive topics like these, is that please make it as personal or clinical as you would like to be. Because I cannot force somebody to sit there and share their innermost
Yes.
secrets. It won't be fair on me. I mean, I'm not here to sensationalize things. And so each one of them came and said, "Ke, we wanted to share because when we saw those faces from the stage, we knew that these people are not going to sit there and say, oh, acha." They're going to actually relate.
Yes.
They're going to be able to understand, and we are going to be able to help the community through all these people who are sitting here. Which, I mean, tell me, what can be more heartening than that?
That's so true, man. And you talked about giving an opportunity to first-time writers or first-time speakers, those who have spoken less. And what best can be an example than the person sitting right next to you? So
Yes, Inspire. Inspire is another intellectual property that we have.
yes, ma'am.
And as the name would suggest, it Inspire.
Yes.
So not only do we get, the first time authors, but with them, we get a couple of well-known authors who can inspire
Yes, ma'am.
the people to write more.
And I won't say I feel proud. I would rather say I feel blessed because I've been a part of the novel bunch journey since the very
So
beginning of
this is
it.
the very beginning.
Yes, ma'am. Since the very first event that took place with around 25, 30 people, and now we've
Yes,
crossed more than 400.
400.
Yes. And I've been one of those first time speakers, first time writers as a part of Novel Bunch.
Truly,
And
truly.
that first time writer and first time podcaster, first time moderator is now a podcaster and a best selling writer as well.
Just see, and how,
Yeah.
I mean, we are so proud
Yes, ma'am.
of you, Mubarak. I have always told you, you are a part of Novel Bunch.
Yes,
Now
ma'am.
you're not just, a guest at Novel Bunch
No,
or
ma'am.
just a member of
Novel
Novel
Bunch
Bunch.
itself is not just a group. I always say it's a family. And now that we are already talking about Novel Bunch and what all activities that you have already covered under Novel Bunch, ma'am, not restricted to Novel Bunch, but आगे का मेरा question ये है कि इसी लिटरेचर के लव को, इसी लिटरेचर को आगे कैरी फॉरवर्ड करने के लिए is there any particular plan या vision?
See, Novel Bunch is there, and I think we want to take Novel Bunch to greater heights. Already, we have people who are contacting us to start the Delhi chapter of the Novel Bunch, which is great because our vision initially was to take it to Tri City. If already people are feeling the need that they want to replicate something like this in the other cities as well, frankly, it wasn't a vision, but it's coming our way. So just like I feel, I'm not somebody who makes too many plans. I like to take life as it comes. So far, God's been very kind. I'm sure He'll be very kind in the future as well. And the vision is, frankly, just to keep it, if we can manage to even continue keeping it as pristine and pure and if more and more like-minded people can join up with us, I think that's going to be a great thing for Novel Bunch. And if it comes up in the other cities, and if we would have realized that we've started some kind of a movement really, and the movement is towards spreading literature, and the knowledge of literature. Because with that comes, the obvious thing of people coming back to reading, people coming back to realizing that literature is not boring, that literature can be very interesting. And if that is the seed that we would have sown into the minds of people, to encourage them to read more, because I am of the firm belief that when you read more, you know more, and you definitely become a better human being. So, if Novel Bunch has started a movement to have better human beings that surround us all the time, I think it would be a great thing the Novel Bunch has done. And इतनी बड़ी तो हमारी vision भी नहीं थी. अगर वो achieve हो जाए, तो I really don't know what the bigger vision is going to be. Yes, there is one thing that Hardeep and I have now been talking about, taking this international.
Okay.
So, inshallah, I think we should be going international with Novel Bunch very, very soon.
अमेजिंग मैम, मतलब मेरी अक्सर कोशिश होती है कि टुवर्ड्स द एंड कुछ गेस्ट्स के लिए कुछ मैसेज लिया जाए या कोई बात ऐसी पूछी जाए कि आगे के बारे में थोड़ी क्यूरियोसिटी हो, थोड़ा ध्यान में रहे कि अच्छा कुछ बोला था, कुछ होने वाला है. सो यू डिडंट वेट फॉर दैट क्वेश्चन. सो यू ऑलरेडी आंसर्ड इट, एंड एज पॉजिटिव एज यू ऑलवेज आर, ये टुवर्ड्स द एंड आपने एक बहुत पॉजिटिव नोट दिया एंड एक वो इंटरेस्ट जगा दिया, एक इंस्पिरेशन आपने इंस्पायर कर दिया टुवर्ड्स द एंड, that literature is, and of course Novel Bunch under your of course efforts is going to be international, going to go international very soon. Let's just hope, and as always we believe कि definitely अगर आपने कुछ सोचा है तो वो होगा, अब आप छोड़ने वाले तो नहीं हो.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking out time. We wanted to talk about literature, we wanted to talk about entrepreneurship, but ma'am towards the end मैं एक बात तो भूल गया. How did golf come up in your life?
Okay, golf came up because you see, my oldest son Siddhant, he started to see golf on television probably when he was just 3 years old. And my husband, of course, used to play on and off, but not a very regular golfer. And I used to feel it's such a boring game. What is this child understanding out of golf? Uh, so I took him to the course. He was only 4 years old when he started to learn how to play golf, and he showed signs of being interested in a sport that not too many kids that age would be. It's not a very fast game. So his very early on, his coach started to tell me that he's got a natural swing. He's quite a natural. I think he's going to become a professional golfer. So then the younger one came. He also started to play golf. And I realized very early on that if I need these kids to come and share with me, then I need to know the game. Okay, and I need to know the game probably as well as they do, if not better. And so I started to learn basically to understand the game better that they play, and so that's how my golf started to happen. Initially, it was basically just to see how the boys are doing. And I used to travel with Siddhant because he was playing amateur circuit at the time. And because he knew that I know the game, he would, at times he would tell me, Mom, will you please caddy for me? And I would, lug his bag. Delhi ki wo 46 degrees ki garmi, June ka mahina. I would lug his bag, walk with him. And he used to be so proud that, see, my mom is caddying for me. When we get on the green, we read the lines. And, while बाकी players को caddies बता रहे होते थे कि left से करो या right से करो, and I would go there and I would say, Sid, I think it's coming from the left. And, all the caddies and the fathers and all used to look at me and they would say, आपको मैम line देखनी आती है? And Sid used to feel so proud that, see, my mom. Okay. So that's how golf started. And I'm so glad, I always say this, that playing golf was easily one of the best decisions of my life. I think it's a great way of having a family together. And I mean, I'm of the firm belief that a family that plays together definitely stays together.
Amazing, ma'am. Towards the end, again, बिना किसी question के, that's a line to remember. Thank you so much for taking out time, man. Thank you so much for talking about your journey as an entrepreneur, as a literature lover, as a golfer. And of course, हमारी कोशिश यही रहती है कि इन सब बातों से एक पॉजिटिविटी, एक पॉजिटिव मैसेज, एक मोटिवेशनल मैसेज जाए ऑडियंस को, that anyone watching this episode out there, if they are not doing anything related to this, they can do it. And if there's anything that they wish to do, and probably they are reluctant to take the risk, or they are scared to move ahead, they definitely should do it, just like you did it. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for taking out time, man.
Thank you so much, Mubarak. It was a pleasure to be here, and I really enjoyed this conversation. We could have gone on and on and on. This is such an easy flowing conversation. So I am looking forward to the part two.
Definitely, man. So this 50th episode marks the completion of season 1, I would say, because all the episodes following this episode will probably be released in 2025. So in 2024, this is the 50th episode, and thank you for making it special.
Congratulations to you, and again, pleasure being here.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Mubarak.
That was Miss Saguna Jain with us. Of course, जैसे मैंने शो की शुरुआत में इंट्रोडक्शन के टाइम पे कहा, स्पेशल एपिसोड सिर्फ इसलिए नहीं है कि 50th है, इसलिए है कि एक राइटर या पॉडकास्टर की जर्नी मेरी नॉवल बंच फोरम से शुरू हुई, जिसके को फाउंडर हरदीप सर और सगुना मैम हैं. सो सगुना मैम के गाइडेंस के अंडर आई वुड से ये जर्नी एक शुरू हुई और आज एक मुकाम पे पहुंची है. तो मेरे लिए डेफिनेटली वो मुकाम बहुत स्पेशल है. एंड क्योंकि मैं हर बार कहता हूँ कि नॉवल बंच एक फैमिली है, तो सारी फैमिली, सारी लिटरेचर सोसाइटी, सारी लिटरेचर फैमिली मैं कहूँगा, सब ने जितनी सपोर्ट दी, जितना प्यार दिया, आई कैन नेवर पे इट बैक. एंड देन लिटरेचर से आगे बढ़ के जब ये पॉडकास्ट शुरू हुआ, तो पॉडकास्ट के लिए भी जितनी सपोर्ट, जितनी गाइडेंस मिली, अगेन आई कैन नेवर पे इट बैक. That was Miss Saguna Jain with us in the 50th episode. That was Mubarak Sandhu with you in the 50th episode. अगले एपिसोड में, अगले सीजन में, अगले साल फिर मुलाकात होगी. टिल देन, यू ऑल टेक केयर.